Okay, guys, we have made it to session 5 and session 6. Believe it or not, we are quickly approaching the halfway point of the summer semester, so I hope that that is exciting for you. And I also hope that you've kind of settled into things and you have a better idea of what to expect each week. For this session, I'm going to do the video combined. So I'm going to review session 5 and session 6 in the same video for you. That way you just watch one video and you're all done. Session 5's topic is about communication. I want you to just think for a minute how important communication actually is. And when I say communication, I don't mean yelling at each other communication. I mean proper communication. Discussing with one another plans, or dreams and hopes, or budgets, or feelings. All of those things factor into a proper set of communication techniques for a family unit. Specifically, when we're talking about the adults in the family unit having to be a cohesive partnership in order for the family unit to work correctly. And so if you are in a relationship or you eventually may pursue a relationship, just let this resonate in this session how important communication and good communication is for a relationship, especially one that moves into building a family unit with children. So the first thing that you're going to do is the Family Communication Journal after you read Chapter 8 this week. The Family Communication Journal asks you to watch this short little video on family communication and then identify the particular techniques that are given as advice in the video. So after watching the video, you should be able to explain the 4 main points of being a good communicator and then do some reflection on that as far as how communication works in your relationships and within your family. Remember, when we are doing our journal, we will highlight and copy all the things within the dotted line. Click on this blue Start or Edit My Journal entry button, go down to this entry box and paste. That will help us with the formatting. Your entries here need to be college level writing. We need to make sure that when we are answering reflection questions for journals that we are using paragraph form. We are explaining, we are adding to, we are not just using a few words, and we are absolutely making sure that we have grammatically checked our entry before clicking that blue Save Changes button. The next assignment that deals with communication is your lecture notes. And hopefully you are an absolute expert by now on how this works. But as you read or after you read Chapter 8 and you're reviewing it, you are going to complete the communication notes. Remember, we're going to make a copy and that's going to deposit into our Google Drive. Make sure it's depositing into your Nash Community College Google Drive just in case there's an issue and we need to go back and retrieve that document. I want to remind you that I am asking you to paste a photo of yourself in the upper left-hand corner. Size it down, please, if you are putting in a larger photo, but that is part of your notes expectations. Also, remember that you are only adding information on the right-hand side. So I have begun to see a few formatting things where people are typing on the left-hand side. You don't type on the left-hand side where the questions and main ideas are. You type on the right-hand side under the notes column. You are going to answer these questions, and remember, just because I have one little space does not mean that that's all you have to type. These are formatted to expand with you, and so as you're seeing one small line, don't get that confused with that's my expectation. If you are reading a specific section in the textbook that is a larger section, I should see way more than one line of notes. Okay, so when I'm grading, I am looking for in-depth knowledge, information that you actually read the chapter and pulled something from it. Okay, so you know how to do these by now. Those notes will be submitted in a submission box that will be in this section, bottom part of your screen. You just can't see that on my screen. All right, so I am going to move now into session 6 because that is grouped in with the deadline date for session 5. So session 6 discusses the choice of children. Some people don't want to have children and others want to have lots of children and some just want a few. And so we are going to deep dive into the choice of children and those things in society that bear influence on us from making those decisions. The social influences of childbearing journal here is not going to have you watch a video like most journals have had you do thus far. It's going to kick you back into your textbook for chapter 11 and ask you to reread the section Social Influences That Encourage Childbearing. Now, in my textbook, the one that is purchased from the bookstore, my numbers are 230 to 232. I do know that several of you have different versions and maybe looking at it not in a paper format, maybe an electronic format. So don't get too caught up on the page numbers if they are not exact. More or less, look for that section entitled Social Influences That Encourage Childbearing. And that is the section I want you to reread before you complete your journal entry. Okay, so we are going to have these 3 main questions that you are going to reflect on as it pertains to social influences on childbearing. And we are going to copy the information between the dotted lines, paste that in the entry box. Your paragraph response needs to be in a different color font. And you are going to make sure that you have proofread your journal entries. Remember, these journals are college level writing. And you'll click that blue Save Changes button when you are done. The final assignment for the session 5 and session 6, which is due before 8 a.m. on Tuesday, June the 13th, is the Planning for Parenthood lecture notes. So again, you're going to go back into chapter 11. If you haven't noticed it by now, you're going to spend a lot of time in chapter 11 this week. Once you jump into chapter 11, you are going to complete these notes. I always love watching these assignments come in because these are topics, questions, main points that a lot of people are aware of. They just don't spend a lot of time thinking about or talking about, especially that replacement level. That's always interesting. That's why the question is there. What is your thoughts on the replacement level? Students are so interested in that topic there. So complete those notes. Remember, just because there's one little line listed here does not mean that's all I expect. I expect you to complete your notes thoroughly from the reading in your textbook. And that will wrap it up for session 6. I am always here. If you guys have a question, please shoot me an email and I will get right back with you. We can meet electronically if you need assistance. And other than that, my only advice to you is make sure you are managing your time appropriately this summer session. Summer is twice the work in half the time, and so getting behind is not an option. So I want to encourage you to make sure you are finding enough time in your days to get things completed. And as a reminder, I have it built into the course areas of time to work ahead. So please make sure that you take advantage of that as well, and don't wait until the day or the day before a deadline to submit. All right, happy workings in session 5 and session 6. I hope that the topics of communication and child rearing, childbearing choices are interesting to you.